또 모르겠니? 사랑하긴 했어. 시간이 없단 말이야.
Finally, the light shop drama reaches episode 8, the last episode. This drama is really good, which initially seemed like a horror genre, but in this episode, can make us cry. Because the story is really touching and makes us sad. 5 years ago, Youngji woke up after being in a coma for 1 month. Youngji felt like it was more than a month, because she felt the time flow was different in her dream world. She continued to feel confused about where she was and what day it was. Nurse Kwan explained that it was delirium. ICU patients often experience this after major surgery, and Youngji still has to be treated even after leaving the hospital. Youngji just realized how beautiful the lights were, and after that she wanted to become a nurse like the nurse who took care of her. There was an incident in the ICU room and the nurses immediately rushed. It turned out that the man that Youngji had previously seen walking in the ICU room had regained consciousness. A man driving a car suddenly stopped on a bridge. He seemed to see something, but after checking he didn't see anything. It turned out that there was Jiyoung who was sewing Hyunmin's body, and then Hyunmin woke up, but Jiyoung was gone by his side. Jiyoung is frustrated because she doesn't have much time, but Hyunmin still doesn't remember her. The bus driver was shocked when he saw Jiyoung in front of him, and he stepped on the brakes and stopped suddenly. But he couldn't see Jiyoung, and Jiyoung got on the bus. She approached Hyunmin and asked if he still didn't remember her. She was very disappointed because Hyunmin still didn't remember her. Jiyoung cried because she felt that Hyunmin didn't love her. Hyunmin was still confused, and Jiyoung explained that the people there couldn't see them. Only Hyunmin could see Jiyoung. Then Jiyoung took off his clothes, and Hyunmin was shocked to see his stomach with stitches. Inside the house, Hyunmin felt sorry for not remembering Jiyoung. He asked what they should do now. Jiyoung said that she had a request and Hyunmin would do whatever Jiyoung asked. It turned out that Jiyoung told him to go to the light shop, look for a light bulb that shone. When Hyunmin approached it, he had to find it as if by his own will. Although Hyunmin was confused, Jiyoung insisted that Hyunmin could find the light.
어떻게든 너의 빛을 찾아.
Meanwhile, someone tried to climb the fence of the house where Haiwan and Seon-hae lived. Then Haiwan opened the window and someone apologized to her. He knew that at that time his brakes were problematic, but there were people waiting and he postponed checking it at the company to save money. Haiwan felt it was all someone's fault, but she was still glad he came to apologize. Accidents are not something that humans can avoid, they just have bad luck. But don't blame him for the misfortune, because it happened to all of them. Someone didn't have much time. He looked for those who were still alive and took them to the light shop. Both Sangwon and Haiwan tried to send them back. Then Haiwan told Sangwon to go to Someng's apartment. There was Hyunju who lived in the apartment and she's still alive. Hyunju's mother walked alone and Sangwon approached her. He apologized to Hyunju's mother. Seeing Hyunju's mother, who had difficulty speaking, made Sangwon cry. He was very sorry to know that Hyunju's mother had died. Her mother only showed him where her daughter was and she left Sangwon. Hyunju's mother turned out to have gone to the light shop and Wanyang was confused because she couldn't talk. Wanyang realized that she had died, then she saw Hyunju's necklace pendant. Wanyang couldn't help her except Hyunju came to the shop by herself, but her mother couldn't take her there. Her mother was a bit pushy and begged Wanyang for just one more time, because he felt pressured. Then Wanyang took off his glasses and when he saw Hyunju's mother's eyes, she suddenly went quiet. Hyunju's mother remembered something. She cried and gave Wanyang candy. She tried to remind Wanyang something and Wanyang realized that she was her daughter who he had left alone. Wanyang cried and hugged his daughter. It was really touching. They met again in the afterlife after his daughter died. It turned out that Wanyang had brought a light bulb to his daughter. It was an agreement he made with the woman wearing a hanbok that made Wanyang got the light shop now. He sacrificed himself so that his daughter could live. Hyunju came out of her apartment and entered the elevator. There was a woman there, but the woman didn't seem to be able to see Hyunju. Then, Hyunju saw someone who was already weak. Someone said that he met her mother on the street. Hyunju was a bit surprised because someone knew that her mother couldn't talk. Someone asked if Hyunju remembers him because they met before. Hyunju probably doesn't remember him to knows what happened to her right now. Someone explains that the woman who just passed by couldn't see them. This is confusing for Hyunju, but once she realizes it, Hyunju will know. Hyunju also remembers that when she was in class, no one cared about her. It was because no one could see her. Suddenly she had a nosebleed and was confused what actually happened, and someone could only apologize. Someone felt he couldn't take her to the light shop. He could only tell her a message from her mother. That her mother tried hard to send Hyunju back. Her mother came home with a light bulb for Hyunju. But Hyunju didn't want to accept it, even though her mother forced her daughter to touch the bulb. Hyunju wanted to stay there with her mother. She cried and begged her mother to let her stay. Her mother wanted to say something, but she couldn't speak and her daughter kept crying and didn't want to leave there. Then her mother said that her father was waiting for her and she tried to get Hyunju to come back because her father was alone. And her mother forced Hyunju to hold the bulb and there was a light that shining from the apartment. Finally, Seon-hae wants to go to the light shop and although reluctant, Haewon lets her go. They both actually find it hard to part, but both hold back their sadness. Seon-hae stops in the middle of the road and cries and Haewon cries alone in the house. Finally, Seon-hae arrives and enters the light shop. She looks at the lights in the shop and finds a bulb that is shining then she touches the bulb. At the hospital, Seon-hae almost opens her eyes, but somehow, she suddenly returns home and surprises Haewon. It turned out she dies in the ICU. Before died, Seon-hae removes the bulb and asks Won-young what happens if the bulb breaks. Can she live there and Won-young answers that people can live anywhere. So Seon-hae prefers to live with Haewon and she drops the bulb until it breaks. Ji-young escorts Hyun-min to the front of the light shop. She tells Hyun-min to remember what she said before. Ji-young promises to come to him and Hyun-min hugs Ji-young. Hyun-min must find his light no matter what and then he left Ji-young and entered the light shop. As usual, Won-young asked what he could help him with and Hyun-min replied that he came because he needed something. He looked for a bulb that shone differently, but he seemed to be in a hurry and almost held the wrong lamp. Won-young knew that it wasn't his will and then he found a different bulb. The light shone from inside the shop and Ji-young ran calling his name.
Hyun-min!
In the shop, Hyun-min was no longer there and Ji-young cried whether because she was sad or happy because Hyun-min had returned. 3 months later, Ji-woon had fully recovered and was about to leave the hospital. From time to time, he wandered in his dreams and when he woke up, he was covered in sweat, but strangely his heart felt warm. Young-ji told Ji-woon not to meet again, hearing that Ji-woon felt like he had heard those words before. And Young-ji felt that the man was rude, but still kind. Did that mean Young-ji still remembered when she had delirium, when she was in a coma? It turns out that previously, she gave a message to the ghosts she met and also the coma patients to find a light. It was actually a right bait for the patients to wake up and return. In the afterlife, someone remains a bus driver who carries passengers. Meanwhile, Seon-hae becomes a writer and lives at home with Haewon. They are happy there. Hyunju finally returns to the world and her father always accompanies her. He always worries about his daughter's condition, who doesn't seem to have fully recovered. She tells her father not to worry about her, she wants to meet her friends, so she goes to school. While in the classroom, Hyunju feels unwell and asks her teacher's permission to rest in the nurse's room. But she doesn't go into the nurse's room, she goes out to the schoolyard and washes her hands, and she feels her hands are very cold. It seems like she still feels in the afterlife, and she still remembers everything, and also her mother. She even refuses to have her delirium treatment so that she can still remember her mother. Hyunju's mother meets Won-young and calls him father. It turns out that she can speak normally, and now they are also taking care of the rescue dog. It seems like they are happy to live in the afterlife. Hyunju was surprised when behind her was a female student she had met in the other world. The girl thanked Hyunju for greeting her, and they had met several times. Previously, the girl had never had a friend, but after Hyunju left, she was alone again, so she followed Hyunju. Does Hyunju want to be friends with her because she has a secret?
나도 비밀이 있거든.
Sang-sik being a detective, he visits the shop belongs to the scooter man, Kim Sang-hoon. It turns out that Sang-hoon has died, and when he died, Sang-sik was still in a coma in the ICU, so now he is a ghost. Sang-sik thanks Sang-hoon because Sang-hoon saved him earlier. He is the one who lured Sang-sik into entering the light shop and found the light. Sang-hoon's job there is to send those who shouldn't be here and to that place. Sang-hoon feels that Sang-sik's eyes are very special and sharp. He can see what others don't see. Then he gives his glasses to Sang-sik and for him to continue the pending cases. And Sang-sik agrees and wears the glasses. Meanwhile, Hyun-min is still experiencing delirium, and he still has to check his health with the doctor. He feels strange because he doesn't remember his deceased girlfriend, Ji-young. He feels very confused and like he's going crazy, but the doctor feels that it's because of delirium and will get better soon. Then the doctor suggests Hyun-min to clear his mind of disturbing thoughts and throw away the things that disturb him. While on the bridge where he had the bus accident, he rereads Ji-young's message before. And because he felt confused, he threw away the cell phone. When Hyun-min wanted to enter his apartment, he forgot his password and the lights went out because Hyun-min just kept quiet. Then, he waved his hand so that the lights would come back on, but he remembered when he waved to Ji-young before. And suddenly the lights came on.